It's another video on objective truth. I know the subject's getting a little tired, but it's really an important subject, I think. So I figure one more try. Before I get started, there's something that's kind of funny. Is there's this talking idiots guy, and he's made an awful lot of videos mocking me, and it's just kind of, some of them are kind of funny. So I mean, he did one on one of those, the girls that get 2 million views, that one is just priceless and really good. So anyway, I'll post a link, over there. Like I said, some of them are kind of poor taste or whatever, but they're just taking his shots at me. So anyway, then I was looking around, at other people talking about objectivity, and I ran across an old video of Matt's. So I'll post a link also to that, and I think I'll reply to this this other guy with this video. So anyway, there's generally the argument goes something like, there's no objectivity because this could all be a dream, of a rutabaker in some other, universe or whatever. We can't be sure of what's real, what's not. And second, that we have no capacity to obtain an objective perspective because we can only receive information in this very subjective manner. All right, so that's being the premise of the subjectivist, essentially. And there has been a lot of videos. I've done a lot of videos on how the brain works and evolution and that kind of stuff, and they all sort of relate to this. And so I guess at some point I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to organize this subject, break it down, and try to do something a little more coherent than just to rephrase things in a different way, which isn't all bad, but it just, it does get probably redundant, and I apologize for that. So anyway, so from my perspective, the idea of magic, the happy solution that's sort of Matt's solution, our perception, that there's likely or probably or even possibly some more interesting truth lying out there that we are yet to evolve into, yet to understand, and that we really can't take what we have here so far seriously. There's not enough information, and the information we have is just not, it's not complete, because we haven't reached this apex of understanding our experience, our life evolution. And my criticism with that is that life spent some 4 billion years on this planet, tremendous long period of time. Even human beings, this human brain that isn't much different than the one you possess now, have been around for a couple of million years, and at least 1 million. And that brain wasn't doing much. I mean, it was scratching asses and eating bugs, and it was behaving pretty much as every other animal. And it's an incredibly long period of time to be, in that state. And it was the brink, when we acquired this competent language, that everything turned. And we can see part of that. I mean, we can see that in the short period of written human history, the incredibly fast advancement that's taking place. Millions of years of stagnation, and then you create this language, and you create this whole new dimension of human experience, intellectual experience, truly intellectual, not just a reactive brain, but a brain that's capable of learning, and learning from its ancestors, of acquiring and building on knowledge. And so we have this advantage now. We have this new perspective, and it's essentially their theory that even though we've only had this for a few hundred years, and even though we've seen essentially how the evolution has taken place, I mean, we have acquired new technical understandings, but we're still struggling with the truth of our existence. We're still debating ludicrous fairy tales because we are so lost to find any apparent wonder or purpose in this thing called life. I mean, that's an incredible indictment of this system when you consider that you know, we still can't dispel old, very old, archaic, dogmatic, prehistoric almost fairy tales in people's hearts and minds. We still can't dispel this. We can't cure them of this old addiction because we have so little to work with. We have so little. You look at life and it doesn't jump out at you, this, oh yeah, here's a better story, here's a much better story. I mean, it doesn't really help to, you know, whether we blame suffering on a god or we blame it on nature, it's still suffering. It's still not a good story. It's a pretty shitty story. You know, and our whole incessant, insatiable need, it's not a good story. You know, I mean, it does make us look kind of silly. It does. I think we are fairly compared to the rat in the maze. I mean, we are, you know, just chasing cheese, and just found all these technically interesting ways to chase the cheese. So now we got, you know, we can get on our automobile to chase the cheese, and you know, we can, you know, the automobile can fly over the little barriers if it has to, or we can construct something else, or we can make a bridge over the barrier, or some whatever. We found ways to use technology to make this cheese chasing more elaborate. Even this YouTube thing, you know, we can experience life and each other in these new vehicles, these new ways, but we're still chasing this thing called desire, chasing this thing called need. You know, it's just not a great story. It's not there's no magic there, you know. It's not sparkly, wonderful, crystal, university, magic, heaven, whatever. It's sort of dismal and sad. I mean, you know, I'm a nicotine addict, and you know, life is pretty much just another addiction. It's just another sad, pitiful addiction. You get caught up in it the moment you're born. You're chasing. You're hungry, and it's feed me, Seymour. I mean, that's, you know, that's how we're living. And we can, like I said, we can put a pretty face on it, but that's the story of life. And so anyway, my argument for objectivity, I'm not relying on a magic story, and so what I'm saying is that, yeah, we have this evolved intelligence, and this intelligence gives us perception. It gives us an ability to see beyond what we can touch and feel and taste and all that bullshit. It gives us an ability to surmise a future, to project one, to create a model of reality. And I think we can do that modeling in some cases fairly accurately enough to draw conclusions. And I think based on all the evidence, it would be reasonable to conclude that there is no magic out there. We are part of a universe that is built out of crude forces, and you know, that's all there is. And it is spectacular, this experience of life. I'm not denying that it is, from our personal perspective, kind of magnificent, just as we are impressed by, you know, Mount Everest or Old Faithful or some other, a beautiful woman, whatever it be. There are things that impress us, and we are impressed by this experience, but that the fact that we are impressed by it isn't very objective. It is a very personal and subjective perception of magnificence. Because when you detail it, when you pick life apart, you're going to be hard-pressed to find this magnificence. You're going to be hard-pressed to find the beauty. Because there's a lot of ugly, there's a lot of harsh deprivation and suffering and misery out there that life is made out of, that it's built upon. So anyway, back to the model. And so you know, that's all we're really trying to do, is model reality. We don't have to actually see, from the objective perspective. All we have to do is create the objective model. And I think we can do that. I think we can intellectually, I think we are capable of building an objective perspective and creating an objective model of the universe. And it may not be perfect, but it will be substantially credible and accurate. And okay, so I'm running out of time, but yeah, it's a subject worth pursuing, so I think there'll probably be more videos, but I'll try to get more organized in how the subject is debated.